Hey everyone, my name is Talia from the Fredericton Public Library, and as you guys all know, this week is Science Literacy Week, and our theme is biodiversity. So today I'm here to talk about animals and adaptation. The first thing that we need to talk about when talking about adaptation is environments. So an environment is everything that surrounds and affects an animal. So this can include the water, the weather, rocks, or other animals or living organisms. So for an animal to be able to make an environment its habitat, meaning a place where it lives, animals often have to adapt their bodies, which doesn't happen quickly. It happens over a long time. But an adaptation is any body part or body like covering, like scales, or a type of behavior that helps that animal survive there. So there's two kind of common types of adaptations that you guys probably already know about that we're going to talk a little bit about today. So the first one being webbed feet. So aquatic animals, much like ducks or turtles, spend a lot of their time in the water. So what this means is that they need a way to make sure that they are able to swim quickly in water. And how they do that is with their webbed feet. So you can kind of see between all their toes, they have little webs, which we don't have. But this allows them to swim faster because it kind of creates have you guys ever worn flippers before when you've gone swimming? If you guys have ever worn flippers on your feet, that's kind of what duck's feet do, but they have it so that they can swim really fast. Another type of adaptation you guys are probably really familiar with, because some of you guys probably even have this animal at home, which is cats. And whether it's a house cat or a big cat like lions and tigers, they have these whiskers on their face. And these whiskers for cats are actually like feelers. And what they do is help them figure out if a space is too narrow for them to fit in without getting stuck. So that's why cats are really known for fitting into small spaces and not getting stuck, because they use their whiskers to make sure that that won't happen, which is pretty cool. Another big type of adaptation are beaks on birds. So this is a macaw bird, and it has a really big, strong beak that it uses to crack open nuts because that's what it eats. And it would have a very hard time just using his little claws to get all these nuts open. So that's what he uses his beak for. And there are other types of birds, big carnivorous birds, that use their beaks for eating their prey. Also, birds have a pretty obvious adaptation that a lot of animals don't have, which are its wings. Of course, birds and animals like bats and insects like butterflies all use their wings so that they are able to fly, which is something that not all animals can do. Another really broad type of adaptation is called camouflage. Maybe you guys have seen people wearing camo clothes before, which was made so that people could kind of hide in the woods. But there are animals that have their own kind of camouflage to make sure that they can hide from other predators or hide so that they can sneak up on their prey. A good example of that is polar bears, who have white fur so that they can blend in with all the snow where they live. Another one that you guys might be familiar with, because he's pretty popular for being able to do it, is a chameleon. Chameleons are so great at camouflage. They can actually change the color of their skin to help them blend in. Like a real chameleon, if he was sitting here, he'd probably turn blue and try to hide, or maybe he'd turn brown against the wall back there. And one last type of adaptation is a behavioral adaptation. So this is where animals act a certain way to make sure they survive. A really good example of this is the opossums. So when they feel threatened, if they think something's gonna come try to eat them, they play dead. They'll lay on their back and they'll stop moving, and they'll even let out a really stinky smell that makes which makes animals that are coming to eat it kind of think twice, because they're like, oh, this is dead and stinky and probably not good for me to eat. So it gets left alone. So that's just a little bit, the very tip of the iceberg on animal adaptations. And using that information, we're going to do a fun activity. For this activity, what we're going to be doing is putting some of my little animal friends here in their correct habitat. And I encourage you to play along too and guess which one they go. So to start off here, our first animal friend is this little penguin. So we have 4 different environments and habitats that we can choose from. We have the coral reefs underwater. We have some plains and a nice blue sky. We have a rainforest and we have an Arctic tundra. So which one do you guys think that our little penguin would like to live in? Did you guess the Arctic tundra? Because that is where most of our little penguins live, because it's nice and cold and they need a nice cold area to stay. Our next animal friend here, maybe some of you guys have seen them in Fredericton or in your backyards, is this little deer. So where do you guys think out of these 4 habitats that our deer is going to go live? Yes, our deer is going to come live in these nice grassy plains over here. Find some bushes to get some fruit off of. Our next animal is a tiger. Now, where do we think that he's going to go? Do you think he's going to go live underwater? No. Our tiger is going to come over here and live in our rainforest. Who else do we have in here? The macaw. We saw him with our puppets earlier, so we know he's got a nice beak for helping crack nuts. Where do we think he's going to go? I would be tempted almost to say the sky, but he actually doesn't live in any of our climates like that. He actually also lives in the rainforest. He has really bright feathers that help him blend in with the nice green canopy and all the bright flowers that live there. Here we have a sea turtle. Now, I think this one's kind of easy, so I bet you guys know where he lives, right? He lives in our coral reefs. Who else do we have in here? Some of you guys may even have this as a pet. It's a bunny rabbit. Where do bunny rabbits live? Yes, our bunny rabbits live over here in the grassy plains with the deer. Who else do we have? Here we have a seal. Where do you guys think our seal would live? Now, seals do like water, but they actually don't live at the coral reefs. They actually live over in our tundra, in our cold, icy water. You guys recognize this? He looks like a pretty famous movie character. Finding Nemo, Marlin. And I bet you guys know, if you've seen this movie, where he lives. That's right, he lives over here. They actually live in the anemones. We have just a few animals left. Who do we got? Here we have just a little bird. Where do you think this bird lives? Where do birds go with their wings? They go in the sky, so yes, our bird is gonna come over here and fly around in the sky in the plains. 3 animals left. Let's start with this. This is our seahorse. Where do you guys think our seahorse lives? Yeah. Also over here. 2 left. What's this? Polar bear. We also talked about polar bears earlier when we were talking about camouflage. And they're all white. And what's the best thing for them to camouflage with all white? Snow. So they're going to go over there with our penguin and our seal. And lastly, we have this snake. Now, snakes live in lots of different habitats, but a lot of species of snakes like to live in the rainforest. So we did that little activity, but I actually have a challenge for you guys. So your challenge is to create your own animal that will live in one of these habitats. And then if you guys bring it in, you can take a picture of him in front of their chosen habitat. I even made my own. I named him Colin. Look at him here. And he is a bumblebee variant that lives in the rainforest because he has nice bright colors to blend in with flowers, and often brightly colored animals are thought to be venomous. So even though he's not really venomous, he tricks all of his predators into thinking he is. It's left alone and he gets to fly about. So You guys can make your own animal with craft supplies you have at home, or you can come in to the Fredericton Public Library in the children's section and pick up some craft supplies and take a picture of your animal in front of our backdrops. I hope to see your guys' awesome animal creation soon, and have a great Science Literacy Week.